Right now, somewhere on Earth, lightning is striking. Not once, not twice, about 100 times every single second. But here's the strange part. For centuries we believed lightning was chaos, random electricity falling from the sky. It isn't. Lightning is one of the most precisely structured natural events on Earth. Hidden inside every bolt is a pattern so perfect, so mathematical, that it appears everywhere in nature, in rivers, in lungs, in tree roots, even inside your brain. And once you see it, you can never unsee it again. Because lightning is not just weather. It is the universe repeating the same equation in light. Before a lightning strike, the world becomes strangely quiet. The wind slows, the air grows heavy, the sky sometimes turns an eerie shade of green. And then, suddenly, a channel of superheated plasma explodes through the atmosphere. Temperatures inside this channel reach 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. In less than 1,000th of a second, a lightning bolt releases enormous energy across the sky. Humans have watched this spectacle since the beginning of civilization. Ancient cultures believed lightning was the weapon of gods. Thousands of years later, scientists began trying to understand it. Benjamin Franklin famously flew a kite into a storm, proving lightning was electrical. A century later, Nikola Tesla dreamed of capturing its power to electrify the world. But despite centuries of research, lightning still held secrets. Because what we see in the sky is only the final moment of a much more complex process. Lightning begins far above your head, inside towering thunderstorm clouds. Violent updrafts throw ice crystals and water droplets into each other at incredible speeds. Each collision strips tiny electrons away. Slowly, the storm separates electric charge. Positive charge builds at the top of the cloud. Negative charge gathers at the base. And far below, something invisible begins happening on the ground. Positive charge rises upward from trees, buildings, mountains, even from your own body, reaching toward the storm like invisible fingers, trying to close the circuit. And then the storm makes its move. But lightning doesn't fall straight down. Instead, it crawls toward the ground in tiny branching steps. Scientists call this a stepped leader. Each step moves only about 50 meters. Each one lasts less than 1/millionth of a second. And as it moves, it splits. Again and again, branching through the sky like an electric tree searching for a path. At first glance, it looks random. But it isn't. Mathematicians recognize this shape immediately. It's a fractal, a self-repeating pattern where the same structure appears at every scale. Zoom in on all our branches. Zoom in again. The same pattern repeats, over and over. But lightning isn't the only place this geometry appears. The exact same branching structure exists in the blood vessels inside your lungs, in the shape of river deltas seen from space, in the spreading roots beneath forests, even in the neural networks inside your brain. Lightning is not random chaos. It is the universe repeating the same mathematical rule again and again. But that fractal pattern is only the first layer of the mystery, because something even stranger happens when lightning actually strikes. High-speed cameras revealed a discovery that shocked scientists. Most lightning bolts don't actually travel downward. They travel upward. What we see as a bolt falling from the sky is actually the return stroke, a surge of electricity racing from the ground back into the cloud. And it moves incredibly fast, nearly 1/3 the speed of light. In other words, the Earth is reaching back toward the sky. Lightning is not a one-way event. It is a conversation between Earth and atmosphere. But lightning holds another secret. It remembers. Scientists studying lightning around the world discovered something strange. Certain locations are struck again and again. Not just specific rocks, the same exact spots, thousands of times. Why? The answer lies underground. When lightning strikes the ground, it melts sand and minerals instantly, forming glass structures called fulgurites. These underground glass tubes slightly change how electricity moves through the soil. The change is tiny, but enough to make the same location easier to strike again. Lightning slowly writes its own pathways into the earth, each strike reinforcing the next. Over time, the system becomes more organized, more predictable. almost as if lightning is learning. This process mirrors something astonishingly familiar. Inside your brain, neural connections strengthen every time they are used. The more often a pathway fires, the stronger it becomes. Lightning appears to behave in a surprisingly similar way, but the pattern grows even larger. When scientists began mapping lightning across the entire planet using satellites, they discovered something extraordinary. Lightning is not evenly distributed around Earth. Instead, it concentrates in 3 massive zones: Central Africa, the Amazon basin, and maritime Southeast Asia. These regions produce the majority of the planet's lightning, and they do it with a daily rhythm. Each afternoon, as sunlight heats the land, warm air rises and feeds powerful thunderstorms. Lightning activity surges, then slowly fades at night. This rhythm is so precise that scientists realize something remarkable. Lightning acts like a global clock, and that clock powers something even bigger, an invisible planetary system known as the global electric circuit, a continuous electrical flow connecting Earth's surface, the atmosphere, and the ionosphere far above. Every lightning strike helps maintain this enormous electrical network. At any given moment, around 100 lightning bolts are striking somewhere on Earth, 100 flashes every second. Without them, the entire electrical balance of the atmosphere would collapse. Lightning is not just weather. It is part of the electrical heartbeat of our planet. And then scientists discovered something even more surprising. Thunderstorms weren't just sending electricity downward. They were also firing energy upward. In 2011, researchers detected intense bursts of gamma radiation shooting from storm clouds into space. These events were named terrestrial gamma-ray flashes, some of the most energetic radiation events on Earth. For centuries, we studied lightning from the ground, but storms had secretly been launching energy toward space all along. When you step back and look at the full picture, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Fractal branching, upward return strokes, lightning remembering its own paths, a planetary electrical circuit, gamma bursts reaching into space. These are not separate phenomena. They are layers of the same system, a system stretching from the soil beneath your feet to the edge of space. Lightning is not chaos invading order. Lightning is order revealing itself. So the next time a storm rolls in, and the air becomes strangely still, and the sky flashes with electric fire, remember what you are actually witnessing. Not randomness, but the universe solving one of its oldest equations. In light, in branching geometry, in patterns written into rivers, lungs, neurons, and storms. The pattern was always